source of information. Welcome to the world of borderline banter, where we dive deep into every current canter. Mike's the host with Dustin by his side, pressing buttons, taking us on the ride. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. From politics to global affairs, we dissect the news nobody compares. Mike's insight shines a light, Dustin's clicks keep the show tight. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. Welcome to the world of borderline banter, where we dive deep into every current canter. Mike's the host with Dustin by his side, pressing buttons, taking us on the ride. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. From politics to global affairs, we dissect the news nobody compares. Mike's insight shines a light, Dustin's clicks keep the show tight. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. Welcome to the world of borderline banter, where we dive deep into every current canter. Mike's the host with Dustin by his side, pressing buttons, taking us on the ride. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. From politics to global affairs, we dissect the news nobody compares. Mike's insight shines a light, Dustin's clicks keep the show tight. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. Welcome to the world of borderline banter, where we dive deep into every current canter. Mike's the host with Dustin by his side, pressing buttons, taking us on the ride. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. From politics to global affairs, we dissect the news nobody compares. Mike's insight shines a light, Dustin's clicks keep the show tight. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. Welcome to the world of borderline banter, where we dive deep into every current canter. Mike's the host with Dustin by his side, pressing buttons, taking us on the ride. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. Dustin's clicks keep the show tight. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. Welcome to the world of borderline banter, where we dive deep into every current canter. Mike's the host with Dustin by his side, pressing buttons, taking us on the ride. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. From politics to global affairs, we dissect the news nobody compares. Mike's insight shines a light. Dustin's clicks keep the show tight. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. Welcome to the world of borderline banter, where we dive deep into every current canter. Mike's the host with Dustin by his side, pressing buttons, taking us on the ride. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. From politics to global affairs, we dissect the news nobody compares. Mike's insight shines a light. Dustin's clicks keep the show tight. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. Welcome to the world of borderline banter, where we dive deep into every current canter. Mike's the host with Dustin by his side, pressing buttons, taking us on the ride. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. From politics to global affairs, we dissect the news nobody compares. Mike's insight shines a light. Dustin's clicks keep the show tight. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. Welcome to the world of borderline banter, where we dive deep into every current canter. Mike's the host with Dustin by his side, pressing buttons, taking us on the ride. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen, join the conversation. Borderline banter, your source of information. From politics to global affairs, we dissect the news nobody compares. Mike's insight shines a light. Dustin's clicks keep the show tight. Politics, events, and much more. Borderline banter, never a bore. Tune in, listen.
Well, oh wow, your face is off a little. Good day. How's it going?
What do you mean?
Oh yeah. Well, look at, what do you mean? What I mean? Like your
Oh,
face.
shoot.
I got it cropped bad. There we go. Let's move you over.
Oh, you're going to adjust things? Okay.
Welcome to the 2024 presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Welcome
This is
everybody.
the one. The
Yeah,
big one.
this is gonna make or break.
All
Maybe.
gloves off,
We'll
or
see.
whatever they say. What do people say?
So
Hands off, or
my bingo card's not working. My tablet, I think, is bit to dust. So
Well,
yeah.
that is unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
I did find one for myself because they're too fun not to do.
Yeah, but I'll be too busy fact checking tonight because that's what we're doing here. We are fact checkers for this presidential debate.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna do our best. Obviously, facts can come quick.
And don't worry, Dustin's very blurry, but he will get unblurry soon. We'll just do that.
Will I get unblurry?
Yeah. No, here. Let's just go. Don't wanna. Let's move over here so you're not as blurry there. I gotta fix that. I didn't fix it. I forgot.
Yeah, there's something about the Zoom and stuff.
I'll figure it out. I got an idea. I just didn't do it. I'll try it out afterwards. But yeah, welcome everybody. Hope you're having a good night. We are.
So there is a clock here, 8 minutes countdown there.
Yeah. Oh, oopsies. Having a few issues, but that's gonna be normal. Don't worry. Hopefully not too normal.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
I don't know. All the screens disappeared. Oh, now all the screens came back.
Are they? Okay.
Now they're all gone. And now they're back. I'm delayed, so
yeah,
who knows?
so yeah, I think it's back now for good.
Whoa.
Yeah. There we go. We're back on track. I'm trying to do two things at once here, you know. Oh. See, I'm not even doing anything. But anyway, yeah, so you want to unmute it? And we will go from there.
Yeah. Give me a second here.
I don't know what's going on tonight, but this is why we don't go live on Thursdays.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, now I'm scared to try to turn it up. Can you turn up a tad? Oh, wait.
I can.
Yeah.
They're just not really saying anything too
okay,
much right now.
When you can. All right. But yeah, so we're gonna watch it here. Thanks to CNN. But yeah, we gotta be careful because they're not too happy about anybody showing it.
Why are you saying that?
Because we can talk about it. You know, I'm not gonna hide it.
Well, there's a difference between hiding it and then bringing it up. Come on, man.
Whatever. Come on, man.
Hold on, I got a bingo card for things Mike's gonna say tonight. That's one of them.
Yeah. Boom.
Literally, I made a custom one for you. You don't know about it yet.
No, okay. Well, you're probably gonna bingo by the time they even go live.
If you say basically any of these that say Biden or Trump, I'm replacing them with you.
You should.
So if Mike has a gross cough, okay, I gotta tell these people to shut up for right now. You know?
Yeah. Can you?
They're just talking a lot. You know?
Can you make your window big?
Can I make my window big? You mean
get rid of the address bar?
Well, I can, except that when I go to my other screen, it comes back, and you want me fact checking, so no, I can't.
Oh, okay. But then I'll do this.
Yeah, I did have it as that, and every time I went back to the other screen, it kept adjusting.
We're a little off tonight, but we'll figure it out.
It's okay. If you just square it up, then I'm not going to move it again. I'm just going to come over here and
boom.
I don't want to hear what they're saying.
It's good to go now, right? So behind the scenes, you know.
Leadership credentials. All right, 5 minutes, 33 seconds. I like that they have a countdown. That helps us. Now, are they going to come into entrance music?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I think.
Like Trump loves to do that on his campaign trail.
Yeah, so maybe. But they might. Okay. So what songs do you think they're gonna play then?
Hulk Hogan, I'm a Real American.
No. Okay, is that a song?
Yeah. I am a real American.
I think Trump's gonna come out
fight for the rights and that's all I can legally say.
There's no audience, though. There's no audience, so maybe there won't be, right? So I don't know.
Well, but like they know there's a crowd at home, and even during like COVID, when they didn't have crowds for wrestling, they still did their entrances with music and everything because it's part of the pomp and circumstance.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, then what's Joe Biden?
Whatever that means. Have you ever heard of that phrase?
Joe Biden have?
What does pomp and circumstance mean?
Zombie in your head, like cranberries. But yeah, we will see. Who do you think is gonna win the debate?
Well, define winning.
Both sides are gonna admit they won, so that's
right. That's why I need to make sure. Like, what do you consider winning? Because then I'll give you an answer.
If someone falls asleep, they lose. So if
okay. They lose. Well, the thing is, we do have a precedent here. Trump literally fell asleep every single day during his trial.
Yeah.
So he might be used to it now, too used to it,
Just
you know?
closing your eyes doesn't mean you're sleeping. I'll be pretty bored in court too.
Yeah, but like most people aren't comfortable sleeping in front of a ton of people, let alone their rival, you know? But he's been training for this now, so I think Trump might fall asleep.
So,
When was the last time Biden fell asleep while doing something?
well, not
Biden falls asleep.
Not that long ago.
Did U.S. President Joe Biden recently fall asleep during live TV interview? No. Okay. During Memorial Day speech? Apparently, no, that didn't happen. What about the Maui event? Did Biden fall asleep during a Maui event? That was 10 months ago.
It was just resting his eyes. Right?
Pierce falls asleep. I mean, it was a ceremony. You know, ceremonies are long.
Court cases
looks
are
like-
long.
It looks like there's the one recent one that was no, but they wanted it to be true. And then there was one 10 months ago that they probably did. Yeah. So, like, I feel like Trump's fallen asleep
I've fallen
more
asleep in
recently.
meetings before. I'm not going to lie. So, like, it happens. So,
Right, and I haven't. So if I'm going to bet between me and you, I'm going to say you'll lose because you've done it before. I haven't.
well, I'm not betting between you and me. So, we're betting
Right.
between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Right, so who's done it more recently is the best I can do with them because they both have done it.
Okay, so who's on more drugs? They're going to stay more awake.
Well, it depends. What all are we going to count as drugs? Because there's a lot of caffeine that's going to be going on.
And vitamin drips and all that stuff, right?
Vitamins, those are fine,
Caffeine's a
especially if you
drug.
do it like Hulk Hogan.
Caffeine is a drug. You know, that is a drug.
It is. It is.
So,
What other drug would help the performance here other than caffeine?
meth.
I feel like meth would affect your like
Cocaine.
mental capacity.
Crack.
Cocaine, maybe, yeah.
So,
Isn't cocaine just like basically caffeine, but stronger?
Maybe it does have cocaine.
You heard it here first, folks.
So, yeah. Cocaine.
Coke is just caffeine, but stronger. That's why they used to put it in your soda.
Was that a new slogan?
I mean,
call Dustin at 1-800. No. All right. Well, we should unmute them and see what they're saying before they get out here. There's a minute left. Minute and a half.
yeah, I mean, let's see.
Yo, Avery.
All right, so we can see that Jake Tapper and what was her name? Laura, is that right?
Laura Bloomberg.
The other moderator.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
What was her name? Lana Bush or something? Laura Bush? No, Dana Bush. Dana Bash? Dana Bash. Is that right? Yeah.
We're going to make some mistakes along the way, but that's where we're going. That's just gone in America right now. If one of them can at least give a spark of that, maybe it's
this is actually, I think, a problem for both men.
That's a lot of panelists.
Are great visionaries about.
Yeah.
I mean, if you count us, there's 11, right?
Yeah. Wow, that is.
It's hard for them because they both are not the most articulate men in the world. I don't know how that's going to play out tonight.
We'll see tonight.
Yeah, but no president's been very articulate.
Preliminaries are over.
That's not really necessary.
Back with complete coverage and analysis later tonight. And with that, let's turn things over to CNN's Jake
There we
Tapper
go.
and also CNN's Dana Bash for this first
Bye-bye.
presidential debate
I remember watching him in the
2024 campaign.
reality TV series The Mole.
Excellent
Remember that?
fact checking.
Do you remember
Wait,
The Mole?
did they say any facts just now
Do
we
you
were
remember
supposed to
the
check?
show The Mole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a
was
fake
weird.
reality show.
It wasn't fake. It wasn't just good.
All right, the actual thing is here now. Is the volume better?
I think it's good.
Georgia, a key battleground state in the race for the White House. In just
Wow, look at that view.
U.S. president will debate.
I'm glad I don't live somewhere with that view anymore.
As their party's
Not that specific view, but like a downtown view.
American history. We want to welcome our viewers.
I
in the
wish I had a
United
downtown
States
view,
and
but from
around
out of
the
town.
world to our studios
Is it
in
outside?
Atlanta. This is the
That looked like it
CNN
was an open air thing.
debate.
This debate is being produced by
Oh,
CNN.
they're getting to be pretty close to each
Coming you
other.
live
Look at
on
that.
CNN International.
Yeah, that is actually pretty close, isn't it?
CNN Max and CNN.
Okay, now they
SI.
don't look outside.
This is a pivotal moment between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in their rematch for the nation's highest office. Each will make his case to the American people with just over 4 months until Election Day. Good evening, I'm Dana Bash,
Yeah, that's
anchor
not
of
that far
CNN's
from us.
Inside Politics and co-anchor of State of the Union.
I'm Jake Tapper, anchor of CNN's The Lead and co-anchor of State of the Union. Dana and I will co-moderate this evening. Our job is to facilitate a debate between the
They
two
both
candidates tonight.
hate Trump.
Before we introduce them, we want to share the rules of the debate with the audience at home. Former President Trump will be on the left side of the screen. President Biden will be appearing on the right. A coin toss determined their positions.
Yeah.
Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up, clarification, or response is at the moderator's discretion.
All right, 5 minutes per question. That's it.
His microphone will be
Oh,
turned
shit.
on.
There we go about the
His
microphones.
microphone will be turned off. Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home.
What?
Candidate will get
Oh, yeah,
2 minutes
yeah.
before closing
Oh,
statements.
it'll be
There
difficult.
is no studio audience tonight. Pre-written notes, props, or contact with campaign staff are not permitted during the debate. By accepting our invitation to debate, both candidates and their campaigns agreed to accept these rules.
Now, please welcome
So no
the
takesies
46th
backsies.
President of the United States,
Whoa.
Joe Biden.
Folks, how are you?
Did that count as mumbling?
Kind of, a little bit.
And please welcome the 40th.
He didn't
doesn't-
fall or almost
He doesn't
fall.
look as good as he did at the State of Union. This is weird. This is already weird. Okay.
Oh, here they are.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President
Just like
Biden,
that, right into
inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy
it was
in
coughed.
freefall.
It was
The
got that
pandemic
one.
was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right.
Fox,
Economy
he did
collapsed.
not say
There
that.
were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out another.
I don't have time to look up all those facts, dude.
800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done.
Well,
There's more to be done.
Are you looking up the 15,000 or the thing he said before
I come from
it?
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
I already know.
From a household
I'm just gonna
where the
call it
kitchen
out.
table,
But
so things weren't-
Well, which one of those was true?
It was a
I don't know, but I know one was fake.
The price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems.
Look, I don't think Biden's actually doing anything about housing.
We're going to make sure
He's
we
saying a lot of shit.
2 million new units.
Get him
and
some
make sure
water.
we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that,
So I've got a thing here that says Biden says inflation was bad when he took office. That's basically what he's saying.
He didn't
I
do
don't
much
think
at
so.
all.
Was it?
By the time
He
got
keeps saying he was left this stuff. He was given this.
literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where.
But he hasn't said inflation enough for me to
we
count
brought
it.
down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay. more
Trump
than
had that going.
$200
You canceled
for
it.
any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price of around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates. That was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce-back jobs, a bounce-back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you. President Biden?
Damn it, he didn't say anything on my card.
Economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If you want to actually look at metrics,
in a situation where
what metric makes us the
his
greatest?
economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began.
Because of COVID.
The idea that he did something that was
ridiculous.
And the military,
that's true fact, I guess, but it is because of COVID.
Killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about it.
Right, but you're acting like he couldn't have done anything, and there were demonstrable things he could have done to keep people with their jobs, and he didn't. So just saying like, oh, COVID's his excuse, like, no, he still could have done shit. Well, your leadership should have done more. My leadership should have done more.
They got the jobs.
Why should we have had so many job losses during COVID?
Because you weren't allowed to go out in public.
Right, that's where it's literally a health emergency. The government should handle that, and they have means and ways to do that. That Trump refused to do, Biden also refused to do.
Places are shut down, and you can't go back to a job that's not there because it's a business.
That's literally what the PPP loans were for. But anyways. And a bunch of companies took that money and then still fired people. So miss me with that. The whole point of those loan programs were to keep people employed. And they became just people stealing money from the government.
Oh, yeah, they did that.
Companies straight up stole it. Big, small, medium, they all stole it.
And the people did too.
And those same people that took those loans that were never had to be paid back whined about college student being forgiven. Like, come on.
And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like.
But to pretend like Trump couldn't have protected jobs during COVID is stupid, because that's literally how you protect jobs.
Administration in history.
He just didn't do any of that.
And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
Oh, shit, I missed my card here. Did you say coyotes?
You might have.
Did you say witch hunt?
Probably not yet.
Did you say not a joke?
Nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get
trickle down?
Much better than
I can fact check this. He's doing trickle down, which is, it doesn't work. Trickle down doesn't work. So this is a lie.
The corporate tax was cut down.
When you just give the money to the rich people and the corporations, it doesn't come down to the employees and the people.
Much less tax.
It's been demonstrated.
Trillions of dollars back into our country.
He's doing trickle down.
Was going like never
Reaganomics.
Before. And we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States.
It's been that for a while.
Like a third world nation, between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent, all of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation. and it's a shame.
Okay,
The
so
damage he's done
more
to
people
our
did
country.
Well,
die.
I can fact check that. We're not a third
more
world
people-
nation.
More people did
Millions of
die
people
from
to come in here
COVID
from
and
prisons,
Biden's
jails,
administration than
and mental
Trump's.
institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
Possibly.
No,
President
that's
Trump,
I'm
we will get to
looking that up right
immigration
now.
later in
Oh,
this block.
okay, yeah.
President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires.
Trump has been pretty good about not talking.
What's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact,
He's not
pay
happy about it,
8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to
He needs to get his millions, billions, and trillions right. He just fucked it up twice in this
We
one.
need to do child care, elder care, making sure that we can.
It's pretty important when it's like
strengthen our healthcare
the difference between millions and billions and
making sure
billions and
that we're able to
trillions.
Make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look,
Oh shit!
No.
Glitch!
we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
To death, and he's destroying Medicare.
I'm gonna count that as speaks gibberish.
100%, yeah.
Medicare, they're putting them on Social Security.
That's
They're
funny.
gonna
I just thought
destroy
that's
Social
funny.
Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy
We
Social
beat
Security.
Medicare.
Millions and
What?
millions of people coming in and trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame what's happened to our country in the last 4
COVID
years.
deaths during
is
Biden,
not to be
392,000.
believed.
Total U.S. COVID deaths, 2.2 million.
With a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened.
Looks like
to the
it's not
United
even
States.
close.
2.2 million people
no
die?
longer
Yeah.
respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court
Come on,
ruled
man.
on yet another abortion case.
Say come on, man.
temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that.
I'm meeting
and
a
I
lot
will
of
not block
mixed
it.
stuff, but
And
they're all
if you
saying
look
that
at this whole question that
Biden
you're
is
asking,
still
complex but not
more
really
deaths, but
complex.
he's been around
51
longer.
years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and
COVID.
everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans,
No.
liberals, conservatives.
No, they
everybody
didn't.
wanted it back. Religious leaders.
No, they
And what I
didn't.
did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices.
No, they wanted it enshrined at the federal
in
level.
favor of
Is he on
killing
crack?
Roe v. Wade and moving
I don't
it
have a
back to
Trump
the
speech
states. This is
gibberish.
something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision
Working
that
it out.
It was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing.
They both look
Texas is
so
different,
old.
Florida's different.
You know,
But
like
they're
if
all
Joel
making
and
their
Trump,
own
they look.
decisions right now.
They are old
Yeah, I
though. I
guess.
mean, it'd be weird if they looked young. I'd be like, "What's going on? What'd they take?"
Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes.
Oh, look, he even referenced Reagan.
I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people.
So he's
don't
even
believe in
referencing
that.
the thing I was calling him out for,
I believe in the
which was
exceptions
proven
for
bullshit.
Rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart, but you have to get elected also, and because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the
What was the question?
Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, "We'll put the baby."
It was about
and
medication.
we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby.
Oh, the question's still on the
Brought
screen.
it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's
We're
been
not.
a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
We're not coming together on this issue.
Done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that
My
they're
cat's
all against
named
it is
Ro,
just
so-
ridiculous.
Hi, Ro.
And
I
this
just
is the
talked
guy who
about you.
says the
Hi,
state
Ro.
should be able to have in a state where
Inappropriate.
in 6 weeks,
Yes.
you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on what your
Well, what do you mean him?
whether you need help.
See, this
What
is
do you mean
where-
him? You could be a girl doctor. You don't know that, Biden.
We're going to
Come on, man.
civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been.
That's a good analog
One
there
woman who
Biden just
was
made.
murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in. They talk about that, but here's the deal: there's a lot of young women are being raped by their in-laws, by their
What? What the fucking?
Well, what he's trying to say is you're more likely to be raped by somebody you know, which is true.
Yeah, but-
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. Considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And
No.
ended up, and these killers are coming into our country. And they are
It's like he doesn't know about the Korean
Terrible
demilitarized zone,
thing. As far as the abortion's concerned, it is now back with the states. The
or
states
I don't
have-
know,
In
Gaza.
many cases,
Like, what are you trying to say? Most dangerous in the world? Like, piss off! It's not even close. We looked at Eagle Pass. I should bring up that video of Eagle Pass again.
Including the founders, if they knew about this issue.
Oh, and this is the border wall. I get to mark that off.
But they would have. Everybody wanted brought back.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back.
Oh, he brought up Reagan again.
Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states.
He uses his hand a lot. Did you notice that?
Trump,
This is
yeah.
the same
I was
topic.
making
Yeah,
fun earlier.
very handsy.
Have
Yeah.
no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous.
Look how
That's
Trump's
the last-
looking at him.
No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
Are you?
Can take the
You're
life
still
of
in
a
office
baby
right now,
Yeah,
buddy.
re-elected.
Month,
Re-elected.
How are you gonna
is
do
the
that?
problem.
birth, because some
You're making a
states
promise
do
you
that
can't
month,
keep, old
take
man.
it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion.
Yeah, literally, Roe v. Wade already established all these things Trump's trying to imagine aren't there. They're all in there. That's in the precedent that people wanted enshrined, and that's why they wanted it
We don't
enshrined.
think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing.
And Biden's struggling with his words here, but he's making the better
For
point.
51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was.
I'm not sure why Trump is still dying on the
51 years,
abortion
and it was taken away because this guy, very conservative members on the
pill
Supreme Court,
here.
he takes credit for taking it away.
It's a dumb
What's he
topic
gonna
for
do?
him.
What's he going to do? In fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a
game plan.
universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration.
You see that?
A record number of
Get fucked.
He
Get
did
fucked.
pretty good, though. He
across
made
the
it 20
southern border
minutes.
on your watch.
Yeah.
Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security
And yeah,
concerns.
that
Given
whole
why should voters
fucking
trust
thing
you
is
to solve
bullshit.
this crisis?
Jays was saying it in
We
chat
worked
as
very
well.
hard to
Hey,
get a
Game Playboy.
bipartisan agreement that not only
Welcome to the debate.
changed all of that. made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure
That was under Obama,
the families are separated. That's not the right way to go.
It was under all three of them.
Yeah, but it started under Obama.
What's happened?
No, it didn't.
You're in a situation
I'm
where
pretty sure it started under Bush. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. It's all of them. Can we just agree they all suck at this and all fuck? Come on.
Total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more.
See, Biden wants the same shit Trump wants. This is just another weird
the end of that sentence.
issue.
I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
I
border in the history of our country. I
don't think he knows either.
He decided to open up our border, open up our country to
Oh, that's funny.
from prisons. People that
Yeah, they're so open. Open border. They're sending insane asylum people over. They're all terrorists in the insane asylum, in mental asylum.
All over the world they come, from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world they're pouring in.
Yes, send us your tired, your huddled masses. That's what our freaking statue says, dummy.
Because I didn't have legislation. I said close the border. We had the safest border in history.
No,
in
wait,
the
what?
final
What do you-
couple of months of my presidency, we had.
What do you mean
according to
safest
Border
border?
Patrol,
What does that even mean?
And by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me
You
for
won't say it.
president.
Do we need to look up how many Border Patrol people died during
Look,
Biden's
we have the
presidency
safest
versus
border
Trump's
in
presidency?
history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never
Because
been
that would be the
anything
safety
like
of the border,
it.
right? We should be able to measure that by the dead border agents, right?
People that are coming out
Yes,
like
yeah.
President Trump.
Right? Okay, look it up real quick.
The only terrorist who's done anything across the border is one who came along and killed three, and his administration killed an Al-Qaeda person coming in, and his administration killed three American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people, that's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again,
All right, so I got the numbers here.
lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America?
All right, we
including
seeing
those
this?
who have
I can't.
jobs,
No,
including
it's way
those
too small.
whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so,
Okay.
how will you do it?
Just one second.
This is number of agents per death per 100,000.
And Soleimani, the two greatest.
These look basically the same during both their presidencies.
Huge impact on
2023
everything.
About 19,000.
On everything.
No, in 2023, yeah,
He's the
it's the
one that
same.
killed
Now,
people with a bad
2023
word,
jumped up
including
quite a bit.
Hundreds of
But-
thousands of
What
people
did? It's
died.
19,000, 19,000, 19,000, 19,000, 19,000, 19,000, 19,000, 19,000. It literally is the same.
Now, in a
Okay.
rat's
19
nest,
wow,
they're
that's
killing
crazy.
our people in New York, in California, in every
Like,
state in the
I
union.
mean-
because
Yeah,
we
it's
don't
the
have
same,
borders anymore.
all these
Every
other
state
numbers,
has
but,
a
like,
border. And because of
I don't know.
his
It just seems like
ridiculous,
there's not actually a
insane,
difference
very
when there's a
stupid
different
policies,
president.
People are coming in and they're killing
Big
our
shock.
citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these three incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Oh, does Trump care about our veterans?
I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of.
Should I
all
pull up
things
the
that
Trump
I
quotes
approved,
about
choice
veterans?
that I got through Congress. All of the different things I
Do
approved.
you have them?
They
Good.
abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did, and I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people to come in. And
President
it's a
Biden.
very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie.
They didn't cut him
Every
off,
single
though,
one.
that time.
For example,
Completely.
veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told
I'm not seeing the open border thing either. I found a chart for that. I'm not seeing it.
He's not a loser. He's not a sucker.
You want to see the open border chart?
President Trump.
First
You just called him a
of all,
loser?
Suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like most magazines.
And Jay's also has it there.
He put it in
Yeah.
a
Americans who died in war are losers and
We had
suckers.
19 people that said I didn't
That's how he
care.
feels about him.
Who would say
I don't-
I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it.
Yeah, this is
That's number one.
he said, she said. So it depends on, do you believe him or do you believe John Kelly?
I apologize to you for anything.
And which one has more credibility? Obviously John Kelly. So,
Has in
you know.
American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have in the country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wait.
Topic of foreign policy.
No, not
I
that
want to
one.
begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its 3rd year. Former President Trump,
Oh, God.
Russian
Ukraine.
President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its
All right.
bid
So this
to
is the open border that we're supposed to
terms
see, by the way.
acceptable to you?
This is the annual number of U.S. legal permanent residents issued. This goes all the way back to 1820, but we don't really need to go that far. We're going to come up here and look at the more recent.
That we've ever had.
Here we are.
They can't stand him.
So
let's get that straight.
this is 2022, 1 million.
More than just about
2021, 700K.
And that's based on
700K.
every single bit of
Oh, this is
information.
Trump's presidency right here with the 1 million.
Russia and
1
Ukraine.
million, 1 million.
We had a real
And we go back here,
conversation.
700K, 700K, 600K, 1 million.
Can we go?
This is going back to 1999.
I want to hear.
Ukraine.
Um,
A lot of people
So there is no open border happening. It's literally the same as it's been for 20 fucking years. We can stop saying open border. It's not
He did
different.
nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in.
That's fact
I'll tell
checking
you
right
what
there.
happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost. But he should have fired those generals. No general got
Joe
fired
trying to say
for
something.
the most embarrassing moment in
Can't
the
talk,
history of
Joe.
our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left American citizens. When Putin saw that, he said, "You know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take my." This was his dream. I talked to him about it. His dream. The difference is he never would have invaded.
Is he trying to say that our withdrawal from Afghanistan had anything to do with Russia invading Ukraine?
In a million years.
Because that's an insane correlation
Well, I
to make.
think he
It's
just
absolutely not founded in facts at
No,
all.
he's
I
not
wouldn't
saying
let
that's what
anybody do
started
business
it.
with them.
It
They ran out
made
of
Putin
money. They were
realize,
broke. They had no
like,
money
he's
for
saying that made
Hamas.
America
They
look
had no
weak.
money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror. at
Right.
all.
He's saying it made America look weak, and then Russia thought that
This
weakness
place,
was
the whole world
the opportunity to invade. He's linking the two things with that weakness.
President Biden?
I discard the whole notion that they're related.
Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president, they attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I
if
never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
Yeah, neither of them fucking answered it, did they?
No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time
There has.
Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever.
There
I'm
has.
not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything.
Are we just going to pretend Israel doesn't exist and Saudi Arabia doesn't exist? I'm not going to pretend they don't exist and don't get money in the billions.
It should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before
Trump might be able to pretend things don't exist in the world, but the world still exists.
People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before.
No, you won't. You won't.
You
You're not going to. He just said he's going to settle the war.
Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people.
I just want to see if you answer
And
the
he has
question.
made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to
Stop shaking your rattling saber there, buddy.
If in fact he does,
That's what everyone's been
You-
saying.
He's saber rattling right there. Warmonger Joe.
From weapons we make here in the United States, we give them the weapons.
They're not going to go against a NATO country.
And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans. Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza.
Yeah, Israel didn't accept Biden's deal.
Leverage will you
Israel
use
didn't accept
to get
it.
Hamas and Israel to end
Israel
the
said no to
conflict?
Biden's plan.
Number one.
His 3-phase approach was discarded by Netanyahu.
United Nations
They said no.
Security Council, straight through to the G7, to the Israelis, and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Endorsed the plan I put forward.
No, he didn't.
Which is 3 stages.
Netanyahu did not endorse your plan.
Trade the
No, you can say your 3 phases again all you want, dickhead. They're not happening. Benjamin is not for it.
Hamas accepted it, I'm pretty sure.
Hamas did accept it, and so did third-party Egypt. I think said they were also good with it, and
I think cabinet
I think
members
the
still,
PLO maybe as
and
well, or
cabinet
someone.
members in Israel accepted it. So.
Yeah,
What's happening?
but not the leader, and he's the one deciding, just like Putin.
So Joe
It's not
doesn't-
different.
Joe doesn't have a clue.
They
what he's
don't
talking
work
about.
very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people.
Joe's struggling. He doesn't have those drugs people thought he would have.
They need them.
No, you
By
can
the
tell he
way,
doesn't look as
I'm the
hyped
guy that
as he did at
organized
the State of
the
Union.
world against Iran.
You know what I
where
mean?
They had a
So-
full-blown
Yeah,
intervention.
he's doing okay. I mean, he's not crashing and burning, but he's not hopped up.
No,
He's not fired up or hopped up.
And
neither is Trump.
He's very sober.
we saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so they're 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way,
Let me slap my forehead,
greatly
dumbass.
weakened Hamas. Greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for what using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent $100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us.
That's what that Lincoln Trump does that. He's like,
he's getting all.
I have the biggest crowd. I was told it was the biggest crowd.
We're over 100.
No one cares
And it has a bigger impact on them
about the crowd. So I was like, I don't care.
We have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job.
Whoa!
He's become like a Palestinian.
Jesus, you're in there for the first half. You're like, oh, he's got a point, and then he's like, no, you should let them kill everyone. He just said finish the job.
He said something else after too.
This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. Are you going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have our strength lies in our alliances as well.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to get NATO pregnant.
Ever able to avoid a war in major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have you continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places.
Oh, God, Biden.
He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time. And I said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump.
He didn't answer the question
January 6, 2021, after you
at all. He completely didn't answer the question about a Palestinian state.
The constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few.
What?
On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over.
I feel like something else happened on January 6th.
All over the world, we were respected.
Wasn't there something else that happened that day?
And we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. What happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible.
Yeah, best not to answer any questions. Don't want to answer.
At some point you'll be talking about.
Just ignore the questions.
Yeah, but that's
yeah, they're ignoring the questions.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to voters who believe that you violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this. Because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor of, in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see, I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it, too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her, and she now admits that she turned it down.
I don't know. Is that
and
true?
It was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility.
What does this have to do with the question?
January 6th.
President Biden?
Look,
He didn't
he
say he didn't do
encouraged those
anything.
folks to go up on
He's
Capitol.
deflecting to something about Nancy
I
Pelosi
sat in
instead of
the
talking about
Capitol
what he did on that
office.
day.
Sat there for 3 hours.
All I heard was deflection. I'm not going to fact check his deflections. That'll take us all day.
And a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well.
He wants to blame Nancy Pelosi for January 6th. That's weird.
Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and
If only Nancy Pelosi had checked yes on this National Guard box or something, or signed the National Guard approval thing. Oh, then we wouldn't have stormed the Capitol like they planned on doing. Like, yeah, they would have.
To every single court in the nation.
I don't know if there was 10,000 soldiers.
Scores of cases, including the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I
They
watched
said,
this unfold on
this
TV.
This guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing.
Including Nancy Pelosi cowering on the floor.
And they should be the ones who are being held accountable.
And people talking about taking their pins off so people wouldn't know who's who.
That it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President
In
Trump?
case they get in. You know, I remember,
They've
I saw it
done
all.
to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities. You go to Minnesota, Minneapolis.
That didn't happen.
What they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't
Didn't
bring in the
happen.
National Guard, that city would have been destroyed.
False.
When you
I
look at
saw
all of
some
the
damage.
they took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that. They saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing.
You just said a city was burned down. You're doing the same freaking talking points from 4 years ago. That's why I said he was just going to do the hits. This is the hits.
All Democrats. They destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden.
Wait, did he just bring up election interference?
The person in the stage
No,
is
I
a
don't know what he
convicted
said.
felon is the man I'm looking at
Oh,
right now.
there you go. Convicted felon.
He said it. You got it.
Boom.
What he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort.
It took
on
him
his part
44
to
minutes.
stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody, just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied offices, turned over desks, turned them over.
The only person who died was killed by a police officer,
Those
Joe.
people are patriots. Come on. When I
Stick
asked
to what
them
they
this
actually
question,
did. They're going to jail not for murder, Joe. I don't know what the hell he's on right now.
I said, "Will you?"
Well,
denounce
he's
the
getting it
crime?"
just as wrong as Trump.
He said, "No,
Again, I saw this on TV, Joe.
The idea
Fuck
is
off
if
with the
you-
trying to make me not believe my
we
own eyes.
denounce these guys. We denounce the people we're talking about now. We denounce the people who attacked that Capitol. What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have. After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon.
Yeah,
At a very
is that
high
on the
level.
bingo card?
His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things.
All right, so that's
All
the
of
Biden
death
crime
laws
family
at the
checked off.
border, telling the Ukrainian people that we're gonna
I mean,
$1
he's
billion
doing it. He's talking about Hunter and Joe.
Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo.
We did talk about quid pro quo when he was doing that thing with Ukraine. He's like, give me dirt or I won't send you the money that's already supposed to be coming to you.
This man is a criminal.
Yeah, he did that,
This
quid
man,
pro
you're
quo.
lucky.
He did that.
You're lucky. I did nothing wrong.
Sounds like the quid pro quo that the Bidens might have done wouldn't have been involving political money or government money. It would have been private money. So possibly a little different there, huh?
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek...
He's doing the number one, number two, number three thing too much.
Just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about?
that nod there. She was pregnant. What was I supposed to do, huh? What do you want me to do?
Number one. Number two, that was a case that was started.
What, he couldn't get it up for Stormy?
A high-ranking official.
Because Stormy is a porn star.
The Manhattan DA's office to start that case.
Maybe he doesn't think she's a star.
That case is going to be appealed and won.
Yeah, like what is he arguing the point there? The star? The porn star? The sex? Did he not get it up?
Democrats appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out about these cases, you know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that.
Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate it.
And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history.
Crystal, who do you think is going to win this debate?
I don't think any campaign has ever taken hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows
I don't think anyone has
scam,
won anything
and it's
yet.
a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
They both lost.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden.
They both lost.
They're both
Trump
suck.
and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say...
Did he understand the question?
Did you ever hear any president say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved to run in the first place after my son had died, I decided...
Wait, how's the Hitler quote not on my card
I
here?
wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when back in Germany. And the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The people the ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones," he said, "I think they're fine people on both sides." What American president would ever say? Nazis coming out of fields.
Man, speaking of the hits, this is literally a line he pulled off in 2020's debate.
Carrying swastikas. We're fine people.
Yeah, because that kind of reminds
He's pulling back too. Like he watched the clips.
I'd like to know what they are.
He's like, this was one of my better lines, so I'm going to do it again.
This guy has no sense of American democracy.
Hopefully people still remember that.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said
wiped out
100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency. His presidency, he's without question the worst presidency in the history of our country.
His hands.
We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story. and you'll see it's debunked
What?
all over the place.
What?
Every reasonable anchor has debunked.
I'm as
it.
confused
And
as
just
Joe
the other
about
day it
this
came
one.
out where it was fully debunked.
Charlottesville didn't happen?
It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to.
Or are we saying that him running because of Charlottesville?
Debunked.
Because
It
that's
happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time, and the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time. So why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Thank you, President Biden. We're going to be right back with more.
good point.
One of
Why
the
are they
two
not
commercials.
endorsing him?
One of the 2 commercial breaks.
All right. Well, we are not sponsored.
Yeah, so it's not. It's entertaining, but like none of them seem to be winning.
I
think.
don't have bingo yet because Trump won't say fake news and Biden won't say malarkey. Or come on, man.
Come on, man.
Why won't they say their fucking
I was gonna
catchphrases?
say, so Joe Biden says, "Come on, you should show your bingo card."
I can't because it's in paint.
Okay. So
You can't judge that. You
shut your mouth.
And no, come on, man won't do it. It's just fake news would though.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I got Biden has a gross wet cough.
He
Remember
almost
that
did.
happened.
Trump almost said fake news there. You were
I got
very
the free
close,
spot.
You know.
Biden calls Trump a convicted felon. Definitely, I waited until he literally said convicted felon. So
Yeah.
and then Biden mumbles / speaks gibberish. So I've got those 4 out of 5. Just gotta get Trump says fake news. If I get Biden tells deer wearing Kevlar vest joke, then the fake news will actually give me a double bingo.
Okay. I think it should be back on now.
But since they didn't say,
I could be wrong. No, I am wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, you're wrong. Biden hasn't had a long awkward pause yet, has he?
He did kind of there. Not a long.
It has to be long. It can't be maybe
Define
long. It has
like
to be
2
definitely.
seconds, 3 seconds. Is that long?
Nobody would argue. It would have to be one where
2
everybody's like, "Yeah, that was long."
What
And
he-
it sounds like you. It didn't sound like it was long
2
enough.
or 3 seconds. I don't know. Like
You were wishy-washy, and that's all it takes.
Okay.
I mean, he's kind of whispering every time he talks
Yeah,
too,
no,
but I'm
there's-
not marking that off till he whispers.
There's 36 minutes left in the debate.
And I'm sure I've missed some of these. Like Trump had to have said witch hunt or fake news or election interference at some point, like, or China. Didn't he? He's
probably
not. Didn't say
China,
China when
yeah.
he talked about COVID. I have no idea how he didn't.
Maybe he did, but somebody was.
Yeah,
somebody was
I missed
talking,
it.
So
Well, you were supposed to be giving commentary,
we are, and
You
we
know?
are. Yeah, we 100%.
and we can't
are,
let these
so-
old fucks say everything. We're running for president too.
No, I can't.
You're my vice president, probably.
Oh.
I can do that.
I can't. No, because then if you die, I can't be president. I cannot. So,
Well, no, you would just die with me.
Well, no, probably actually, because that's what would go.
We'll
down.
just sign a contract, and they'll be like, "Well, they have a contract,
Yeah.
and it's America. Contracts are good. That's what we do."
Okay, I think we should be almost. How long are these freaking commercials?
It's America. We have like
Yes.
5 minutes of commercials.
I wonder how much these companies pay to put their ad during the
Oh,
because a
right.
lot of people are watching this right now. Like, not.
Yeah, I mean, this had to be expensive. Deal Dash. Deal Dash paid for this.
Look at. Oh my gosh, that's.
Oh my
such-
god, these things are so stupid. These
Yeah.
penny auction sites. Oh
I-
my god.
I almost won something once and I didn't, but luckily they don't take your money if you don't win. But they are pretty lame. I'm glad. 1964. Yes, but then you have to pay per bid. You're paying 5 cents per bid, and sometimes you have to bid 100 times, which is an extra $50, $60. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you're literally not paying the dollar amounts they keep showing. You're paying for bids and had to be the last bid
And know what you could
to
be?
win.
You could be.
And so you may have put in tons of bids to get it
Yeah,
and then not get it.
yeah. And there's always going to be someone that's going to snipe you, whether it be AI or something, you know?
Yeah, and they keep that thing where they add minutes when somebody bids so that it keeps it going forever. It's a scamaz. It's so dumb.
Like, you'll probably get it sooner or later, and you'll probably save some money, but not much.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Obviously, this place is not doing it to lose money, so, you
Yeah,
know.
Back on. Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Welcome back to the CNN Banter-Presidential Debate live from Georgia.
5,000 penny bids at 5 cents per bid is a lot of money for them.
First terms, and you'd certainly face again in a second term. President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge you made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two.
We could look that up.
Yeah.
It's a weird stat, though.
Lowest level of spend in the
And it's a weird way to measure,
Number
like,
three,
your performance.
providing housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on
Yeah, but what are you going to do about those real estate companies that are keeping people out of houses? Nothing, dickhead. He said it earlier. Why bring it up if you're not doing anything about it?
When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs. I cut them in half.
You cut.
Sure
What did you cut in half? Whoa.
He said he didn't say black child care.
He cut a black child in half?
He said black child care.
Because he cared. Okay, because he cared. Okay.
That's a weird thing to say, though.
It is.
But
That was.
We've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left.
That was better than
What do you say
if
to
you ain't
black
black, you ain't voting for me, or
voters
whatever he
who
said
are
last time.
disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where
You didn't do
all
that.
those black families and those black individuals who provided had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and
The student loans weren't specific to black people.
if they paid their bills for 10 years
mumbling.
on their student debt.
And you've already
all those
sufficiently answered this, old man. Tell them you're done.
millions have benefited from that. And we're going
He literally, the first line was all he needed to say. It was good.
Thank you, President Trump.
They're still
And he caused the
hurting
inflation.
because inflation is hurting
He caused the
everyone.
inflation, and he's right. It's been very bad.
He could have just stopped
He
there.
caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money
What?
that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. That he can and it could be 18, it could be 19 and even 20 people. They're taking black jobs and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something.
They're taking white jobs
worse in our
too.
history.
Thank you, President Biden.
Oh, he didn't even say it.
There
Shit.
was no inflation.
He literally just left it at black jobs and Hispanic jobs. What does that mean?
Flat on its back. 15% unemployment.
Trump's inflation rate was at 1.9%. Biden's.
There we
That's
go.
why there was no inflation.
Biden, yeah, there we go. Biden
There were no jobs.
says inflation was bad when he took office.
Thousands of millions
Checked
of
off.
jobs
No, it was
for
1.9%.
Who are in
It
all
was wrong.
communities, including minority communities.
Oh, what Biden said, yeah, I mean, they're both lying. But on my bingo card, I get to mark it off.
ACA has increased. I made sure that $8,000 per person in a family.
Also, the inflation rate is because of the fucking COVID,
Yeah.
the supply chain thing. We all explained this.
They're going to try again.
And then companies took advantage of that and have been extra inflating, and nobody's doing any regulations to stop them, at least in America.
We put more
And neither of these chuckle fucks
They
are saying they're going to
printing
do
money,
that.
They keep printing money.
Yeah, yeah. And these chuckle fucks aren't going to do what needs to be done either. Neither of them are.
shot to make it. There's a lot going on.
So they're both dicking around, not answering this
He
question.
caused it by his tremendous.
And they're saying inflation did it. And like just ignoring everything else. The other guy did it. I inherited it. No, he inherited it. No, you inherited it.
Crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the
Yeah.
police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina.
That's
he came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever.
Flint,
and
Michigan still.
We were using
was that under Trump?
forms of
I'm pretty
energy,
sure, wasn't it?
all forms, everything. And yet,
What?
during
Flint,
my 4
Michigan
years,
was
I had
still
the
with
best
Trump, right?
environmental
Flint,
numbers.
Michigan is under every president again.
Environmental people gave me that statistic.
The one before him, and the one before him, and the one before him. Nobody's fixing Flint. Yeah, it's still fucked.
I don't know where the hell he's been.
Flint is still broke.
Idea.
It's still fucked.
Anything he said is true. I passed the most extensive climate change
Trump's
legislation in history.
facial reaction. They both have funny ones.
We find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing what any white student can do. They just don't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation.
Again, he said that a little better than the first time he flubbed the whole black and white line, but he's still struggling with the whole thing. He's old enough to remember back in the day. Remember segregation?
I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it.
No, it's not.
Undo all that I've done.
Do I need to fact check him on that?
The Paris Accord
Nukes.
cost us $1 trillion.
Nukes are an existential threat to humanity. No.
India, nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States.
Nuclear devastation.
I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it, and it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the biggest heart on the stage. I guarantee you that. And I want to take care of people. But
did you say he has a big heart on?
Biggest heart.
Oh, the biggest heart on.
Social Security.
He said the biggest heart on.
Social Security, Medicare.
You can clip that. He said that.
The idea is that we, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to, the United States can't get under control? One of the largest polluters in the world, number one. We're making significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut pollution in half. We have made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people will learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea
No, we're not, Joe.
he claims that
Selling your trash to China doesn't mean you pollute less.
About pollution and about climate.
To space.
I've not seen any
They are
of
both
this.
all for selling trash to China.
No,
With
yeah.
regard to
That's how we're reducing our pollution.
one
And they're both for that solution.
Shoot it to space.
It's great.
which I was calling for.
I wish we could, but we can't shoot it to space yet.
I made sure
We're just
every
making
company in the
islands.
world,
Have you seen
every
Trash Island?
pharmaceutical
I heard of it.
Cannot have to pay.
Yeah.
And by the way,
I wonder how big
So
Trash
every
Island
day,
is now.
Millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over
The
10
Great Pacific
years.
Garbage
Can you
Patch.
name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social
1.8
Security
trillion
solvent?
pieces of
yes,
plastic.
make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck.
That's
instead
it?
of the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that everybody, they pay, the millionaires pay 1%. 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from 1% beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any?
Yeah,
other
keeping
measures
Social
that
Security
you're going
solvent
to
is
be
literally
able
not
to,
a hard math
keep
problem.
Social
I don't know
Security
why they
solvent?
pretend it is every
Or that
election
one
season.
enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent, but the biggest thing will do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare both times. And that's what. And if you look at the program put forward by
He does.
the House
Conservatives
Republican
constantly
caucus,
put those on the
he
butchering block.
supports.
This is why every budget, every spending bill is a nightmare, because conservatives bring up this shit
We don't need
every time.
Is ridiculous.
Can we cut this? Can we cut this? We had to find something to cut to pay for it, which is bullshit. No, you don't. You fucking print money for other things. Just print it, you dumbass.
You're in a circumstance where
But suddenly you can't print it when it's like, oh no, I actually want to go after Medicare and Social Security. Instead of just printing it for this thing. We can print it for Ukraine, but we can't print it for this.
Insurance is the fact that they in fact are.
Fuck off with that.
It's easier
And by
longer
the
through
way, the
Ukraine.
other thing is, we're in a situation where I talk about education for black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants by another $8,000.
I got a Pell Grant.
Under $70,000 a year, are going to be able to get $15,000 toward the tuition.
That's actually something I was able to take advantage of was Pell
Thank you,
Grants.
President Biden, President Trump.
So I've dealt
And
with
FAFSA,
politicians all my
financial
life,
aid
this side
for
of the
something. I forget what
equation
FAFSA
for the
meant.
last 8 years.
Poor people stuff. I got poor people stuff to go to
I've never
college.
seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia.
The laptop.
Russia, Ukraine,
Oh.
Ukraine.
Oh, say
Everything
China,
he
say
says is
China.
a lie. It's
Damn it, he was listing countries.
Disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. They're putting him in our hospitals. They're
What?
taking the place of our citizens there.
That's not how that works,
What they're doing
buddy.
to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing.
You had 4 years to do something for
It's
veterans and
really
didn't.
coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
Oh, whatever, you could do this. You should do this, but you
Veterans
didn't.
are not being taken care of. I told you before.
They're
By the
not.
way, When I said suckers and losers, he said he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it. Number one. Number two.
Oh, doing the 1, 2, 3 again.
that we're going to be in a situation where all
I like how they
these
have the right color
millions
ties
and
on.
millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming
Oh, yeah,
into
they
the
do.
country
Blue,
and
red.
taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world. The reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession and inflation is going to increasingly go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in
We looked
history.
at that list, remember?
Yeah.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's
Yeah,
turn to the
and
cause of
Biden was
child
way
care.
too high on the
Many
list for
American
some
families
reason.
struggle
Yeah,
to
Like
support
the list was
President
really
Biden.
awkward.
Facetious
President
list,
Biden
not a facetious.
has
Yeah.
tried to
Just a
address
mess,
this
not a
issue.
good,
I don't
not a
The
right
average
list.
cost of
Biased
child care in
list.
this country
It
has
looked
risen to more than
biased.
$1,000 a year per child for many families. The cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back.
You can't just go back.
Because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it. But they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put them. I didn't put Comey.
What does this have to do with child care?
I fired him.
Child care?
He hasn't fired anybody.
Affordable?
He should have.
What would you do to make child care
every
affordable?
military man that was involved
You'd fire every military man to make child care affordable. That's dope.
horror
That's
show.
based.
The most embarrassing
Fire the
thing
whole
is
military
that-
so that we can afford children. Actually based. Actually dope. But that's not what he's doing. He's just not reading the
That's
question.
allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world. Did
Doesn't have an
anybody get
answer.
fired for allowing 18 million people?
He's talking about the
many
border
from
for a child
prisons,
care question.
many from-
I'm not even listening to him because of
mental
it's so
institutions?
stupid.
Did
He's
you
not even
fire
saying anything about
anybody that
children.
allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president.
What?
You just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now all of a sudden he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit. A little bit,
What?
like this much. It's
A nothing deal.
insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters.
We already covered the
I
open
don't
borders
think-
thing.
We just can't let it
It's
happen.
not happening.
If he
Neither party's
wins
for
this
that.
election, our country doesn't
It's
have
a lie.
chance, not even a chance of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
Damn, that's
most admired country in
damn.
the world.
He really doesn't like
The
Joe.
United States of America.
No, it's not
There's
most
nothing
admired.
beyond our capacity.
Sorry to hear
The
that.
finest
say that,
military in
but-
the history of the world. The finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody. Number one.
A lot of people
Number
think you're
two,
weak,
the
Joe.
idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up or go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president in American history. One through best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact.
Trump,
That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with
Wait, he just said not a joke, didn't he?
he did for virtually nothing to
All
child
right,
care.
we're gonna take that
We
one.
should significantly increase the
Why
child
won't he
care
say witch
tax.
hunt or come on, man? These are like hits.
The
I
availability
should have a bingo for
of
those.
women and men or
China.
single parents to be able to go back to work.
Say China, say malarkey.
Businesses to have.
Thank you, President
child care
Biden.
facilities.
President Trump, the question
He actually said childcare.
What would you do to make child
Holy
care
shit.
affordable if you want to take your minute?
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things.
Yeah,
that-
he
Holy
didn't
shit,
answer
and
the question.
He just keeps going back to the previous
Yeah.
question. He's so retarded. This is dumb.
I will show you.
This is not.
Maybe
This
one of
is.
the
Well, he
This is
doesn't
not the
have an
W he
answer,
thinks
so
it is.
deflect.
If I'm given another,
He just keeps like
I will be
waiting
the
a
best.
whole
I can be
like
the best.
chance to speak on each
Nobody's
thing.
ever
It's so stupid.
created an economy like
This
us.
isn't
Nobody
better,
ever cut
Donald.
Taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts
No.
to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were.
There he goes with his trickle-down argument again.
Country.
There it is again.
President in history by far.
Because this is him admitting his tax cuts are for the
Well,
corporations.
the fact of the matter
Not
is
me.
that He's dead wrong about.
Not me at all.
He's increased the.
He plans on fucking me over big
He
time.
will increase the.
He might give me $600 again. That's what he did last time. He gave me a little bit of money to not be worried about it.
Less than $400,000.
But and in the long term, he didn't do anything for
Everything
me.
coming in the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food.
Did he say malarkey?
and
Say
all
malarkey.
very important. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised. He somehow helped the middle class. The middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion
You too, Joe.
over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You have the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China.
Oh,
damn it!
China.
It says Trump says China.
Thank you, President Biden.
Okay, he has to say China now.
Let's
Come on.
discuss an epidemic impacting
It still won't be
millions of
bingo. I need him to
Americans.
say
Both of
fake
you
news.
have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis.
We can't
For both of
seriously.
you,
Come on.
The number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more
Did he
than
say China?
100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year.
Fentanyl from
Primarily
China.
from fentanyl, and
Fentanyl
other
from China.
opioids.
Yeah.
What will
I
you
need
do
Trump
help
to say it.
Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
To finish up,
Ah!
we now have the largest deficit
Stop
in the
it.
history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit
Oh,
with China.
come on, Trump.
There it
It's
is.
paid by China. He's a
He said it.
Manchurian candidate. He gets money from
Got
China.
China. There we
have-
go.
so I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
So, President Trump, you have 60
As Trump doesn't say anything that China is doing to us.
Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get
Existing and actually having a functional economy is what they're doing to us. They have manufacturing jobs. That's what they're doing to us. Having manufacturing jobs is doing that to us. No, we just don't have manufacturing jobs anymore. We could. It'd be a presidential push. You'd have to whip your party around it and want to do something.
And we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways. But the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen.
All right, we can fact check the drugs at the border thing if you want. That's not where drugs are coming from. Certainly not fentanyl. They're coming through the legal ports of entry, and you know who's bringing them in? Americans. Big shock, I know, but it turns out the most likely person to make it back across the border is a citizen of the country on the other side of that border. So the drug people know that. So the majority, like 90+% of mules, are Americans.
More fentanyl machines.
Crazy.
More be able to detect drugs. More numbers of agents. More numbers of.
But it's not being illegal immigrants are not being used to bring drugs across. That would be stupid. If you're a drug kingpin and you have a drug empire, would you use an illegal immigrant or would you use an American citizen? I know which one I'm using.
We need those machines.
And you can't lie to me, Trump.
And we're coming down very hard. In every
You're the art of the deal guy, aren't you? That would be a bad deal.
And Mexico is working.
But your drugs with the immigrants is a bad deal.
To be able to put it together. That's what we have to do.
There you go.
We need
Owned you with your own shit, Trump.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about Americans.
It doesn't matter. He's going to answer the previous question.
Struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, just
going back. Just going back.
He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release.
You know, I should start doing this more.
Catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter. I think a good guy. And he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars.
What?
I will have him.
Putin's asking for money from Joe?
As soon as I take office, before I take office.
I don't think he is.
By literally, as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago. But Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where he paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you.
He's being charged for
President Biden,
espionage
you would
in
be
Russia.
86
That reporter.
at the end of your second term. How do you address
Oh,
concerns
age.
about your capability
card, I
to
think.
handle
Oh,
the toughest
well, not
job
on
in the
mine.
world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized as being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought an awful lot of people. Well,
Thanks.
the whole
checkmark there,
idea
Crystal.
of computer chips. We used to have 40% of the market.
Oh, gotta talk about the CHIPS Act and act like we did something with chips.
Because he was saying
We didn't.
they're cheap, they're finding
Look,
cheap
I mean, just look at the actual like
and then bring
percent
them
of the
back.
market
So I
share
went
that the
and
CHIPS
spent
Act affected.
I
It's
convinced
like a
citizens to
percent,
invest
1% of the
billions dollars here in the
chip
United States.
industry.
And
It's
then
literally
guess
nothing.
what? Those
It's a
fabs
big
that
ass
call them
nothing
to
burger handout.
build these chips. Those
China is
fabs
still
are
dominating the
$100,000.
chips market. Sorry.
You don't need a college degree.
Turns out when you manufacture them, you control it.
About $40
Duh.
is already being invested and being built right now in the United States.
It's a big ass
creating
duh.
jobs
We don't make
from
things here
all over
anymore.
from all over
Maybe we should.
President Biden, you have 40
Maybe
seconds
you'd
left
have
with your
to
cabinet.
subsidize businesses in a certain way to make that happen.
We are
Maybe you'd actually have to put like requirements on the handout. Instead of just giving handouts, maybe you actually put like requirements to get said handout, or that you'll have to pay the handout back. No? No, we're just going to keep doing the handout trickle down thing.
All our opportunities. We're the most
Okay.
progressive
Yeah,
country in the
well,
world in getting
Still
things
waiting for
done.
mine to trickle down. Are
We're the
you? You
strongest
got pissed
country
on
in the
yet?
world. We're a country in the world who keeps our
That's the
word.
only kind of trickle down that
Everybody
works. You know that,
trusts
right?
us. All of our allies and our those who he cuddles up to, from Kim Jong Un, he sends love letters to, and Putin, etc.
He sends love letters.
Love letter? Oh, that should be on here. It said the deer
Is that a
wearing
joke?
Kevlar vest. He's not going to do the deer wearing Kevlar vest one.
Oh, it should just be a joke.
What do you
Bad
say
joke.
to voters who have concerns about your capabilities to serve?
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced
Man,
both of
woman,
them, as you
camera,
know,
person,
related public.
TV,
He took none. I'd like to see him take
man,
one, just one.
camera,
A real easy
person,
one.
woman,
Like, go through
TV.
the first 5 questions. He couldn't do it. But I took
got
2
all 5 of
cognitive
them.
tests. I took physical
Twice.
exams every year, and you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood.
Yeah.
That I'm
Oh my God, light of the night.
Not even senior. 2 regular club championships.
That
To
plus
do
his
that,
earlier
you have
saying
to be
he has the biggest
quite
heart
smart,
on.
and you have
That's
to
gonna
able
be a
to
said
Viagra
go a long
commercial.
way.
Where I got
He
wood.
doesn't do it. He
Viagra.
can't hit a
I've
ball
got the
50
biggest
yards.
heart on.
Challenge me to a golf
Prudential.
match.
Literally,
He
you could
can't
cut
hit a
like
ball
2
50
clips of this
yards.
and you already have a great
I
commercial.
think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in.
Ooh,
as
30 years
good a
ago, how much
shape
did Trump
as I
weigh?
was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take.
I don't know that
cognitive
Republican
test.
honors.
And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy, when he was.
I
White
passed
House
my
director,
IQ
and then I
test.
took another one, a similar one, and one of them said they'd never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
Trump, that's
You
not
can see
true.
He is 6'5" and only 223 pounds.
I can't find his
235
weight.
pounds.
Not reliably.
Well, he said 6'4", 200.
Certainly not for 30 years
Anyway,
ago.
that's what you're. Anyway.
Your body's
Just take a
shaming
look at
him,
what he
Joe.
says he is, and
Well, I mean, you can look at the
No,
presidential
look, I'd be happy
physical.
to have a driving contest with him.
Biden's
If you want.
body shaming him.
Which when I was vice president.
Well, the question was
I
about physical
6.
health.
Can't be body shaming.
But by the way,
It's not body
I told
shaming
you
when we're talking
before,
about
I'm
physical
happy to play
health.
golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap. Of
Whoa!
all.
I
It
was
turns
an
my.
8 handicap.
Wait, what? What just happened? Mute him! Mute him!
I've seen you swing. I know you.
Mute him!
Hey, let's
Mute him!
That's 5 minutes!
Ah!
Not act like children.
You are.
Did he just say that? You can't say that.
Tonight
He at least said, let's not, as in both of them.
have been exhausted.
That's an
you will
acknowledgement that
accept
that's what was
the
happening, at
results
least.
of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable.
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you, nobody ever talks about that. They talk about a
Nobody
relatively small number of
cares.
people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police. And as Nancy Pelosi said, it was her responsibility, not mine. She said that loud and clear. But the answer is, if the election is fair, free, and I want that more than anybody. And I'll tell you something. I wish he was a great president, because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be at one of my many places enjoying myself. I wouldn't be under indictment because I wouldn't have been his political opponent, because he indicted me because I was his opponent. I wish he was a great president.
He indicted
I would
me.
rather have that. I wouldn't be here. I don't mind being here. The only reason I'm here is he's so bad as a president.
That's what
that
Joe
I'm gonna
said.
Make America great again. We're going to make America great again. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. And we're a failing nation because of him. His policies are so bad. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are very, very close to World War III.
Yeah, I know all your
and he's
followers
driving
keep
us
saying
there.
that, but nobody
And
has
Kim
evidence of it.
Jong-un and President Xi of China, Kim
They didn't
Jong-un
have
of
evidence of it
Korea,
when you said it in
all of these
2020
are
either,
Putin.
and then 4
They
years
don't
passed.
respect him. They don't fear him.
I mean, come on,
They
man.
have
Yeah, a lot
nothing
of
going with
lies.
You
this
can't just
gentleman,
keep saying it's
and
right
he's
around
gonna
the
drive us
corner.
into World
When
War
it's not,
III.
you look dumb. We're around that
World
corner.
War III.
This is the problem with playing the hits. Is like some of your hits were time-sensitive
Say
hits,
do
buddy.
what you want, NATO. Just do what you want. There's a thing called Article 5. An attack on one is attack on all. And required
Those eyes are
response.
way too wide.
Yeah,
Saber
no.
Rattler.
He got a
Idea.
boost. They
I can't
freaking
think of a
came up from
single
unemployment and
major
stabbed
leader
him.
in the world who wouldn't trade places
Okay.
with job
Bring him down
opportunity
another
that they've
notch.
done. Because we are a
Nope, he's
powerful
praising him
nation.
again.
We have wonderful peace because of the people, not me. It's because of the American people.
Did he
They're
gain
capable of
energy?
anything, and they step
Looks
up when
like-
we need it. And right now,
He has more
we
energy
need
on
it.
this question
We
than
need
any
it to
other.
protect the world because of our own safety.
He
and
loves
state.
war.
And again,
He fucking
we wanna
loves
have
it.
war, just let
It's the
Putin go
topic
ahead and
that gets him
tear
fired
teeth,
up.
Make sure they move on. See what happens in Poland, Hungary.
He's got some
and
wood
other
to
places
knock
along
on.
that border.
You remember when
And
he was
have a
vice
war.
president? I mean, him and Obama sent
President
drone
Trump,
after
as I
drone
come back
after
to you
drone.
for
They
a
love this
follow-up,
shit.
Yeah.
The question
Killing
was, will
Americans,
you
too.
accept the results
Wee,
of
look
this
at Peanut.
election, regardless of who wins?
Yes.
Just to finish what he said, if I might.
You can't keep just doing that.
Russia,
Cheater.
they took a lot of land from Bush. They took a lot of land from
What?
Obama and Biden.
Well,
They took no
they
land,
took
nothing
stuff.
from Trump. Nothing. He knew not to do it. Not going to play games with me. He knew that. I got along with him very well, but he knew not to play games. He took nothing from me. But now he's going to take the whole thing from this man right here. That's a war that should have never started. It would have never started ever with me.
Say that to the camera.
And he's going to take Ukraine. And, you know, you asked me a question before, would you do this with... He's got us in such a bad position right now with
Say that to the
Ukraine
camera.
One
and
minute
Russia.
left.
Because Ukraine's not winning that war. He said, I will never settle until such time. They're
I'm
running
still
out of people.
here.
They're running out of soldiers. They've lost so many people. It's so sad. They've lost so many people, and they've lost those gorgeous cities with the golden domes that are 1,000 years old, all because of him and stupid decisions. Russia would have never attacked if I were
President Trump,
president.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that.
Dude, it was a yes/no
I'm
question. What are you
running
saying
again.
right
I
now?
wasn't really going to run.
Just say yes.
Until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time,
You're a
you
whiner.
continued. You appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there's all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
We'll be right back
Good point.
with more from the CNN.
Really?
But also, you didn't answer the
How long
question,
is it?
Joe.
I thought it was only 90 minutes.
Is it longer?
They said
No,
they'll be right
post-debate
back.
analysis.
Every weekday morning.
Here are the
They might just be making us wait for the closing statements. They want to make sure they're after the last ad break, so you can't.
Trump gets the last.
You have to watch
so,
these.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trump gets the last 2 minutes. Biden gets the 2 minutes prior. And it's just going to be more of the same for both of them. They're just going to scattershot a bunch of topics and hopefully say, come on, man, witch hunt and malarkey and coyotes.
And fake news.
Or White House cocaine. Apparently, I need Trump to talk about White House cocaine, but I need Biden to talk about the deer wearing Kevlar vest. Trump didn't rip the moderators, did he?
No.
It was on my ticket, but he hasn't done it yet. So, has Biden called somebody the wrong name? He said a lot of names, but he always corrected it and got the right name.
I think so, yeah.
Like, there was one he was close, but right away he was saying like the name he meant to say. So, like, I can't really say he said the wrong name. I need him to say malarkey, but he won't say it.
But yeah, that's.
I mean, they're both just throwing lie after lie. It'll be interesting to see. Is CNN going to do like a fact check thing we can like text read through and go over tomorrow?
But
maybe?
I'm sure there's a lot of places that will.
Or maybe we should do someone other than CNN.
We can find
PolitiFactor.
Yeah, or
I don't know.
A Canadian
Reuters
website.
or
Actually, maybe not Canadian
Snopes.
either. But,
No, because Canadians are stupid.
and Canadians are pretty biased too. So.
Well, you guys don't know what we're doing down here. You don't even get to vote for your president.
No, Prime Minister, but we don't. So I'm glad
And we kind of don't
I'm
either.
glad you remembered that though. So
We kind of don't either, because technically the actual election is done by that electors or whatever. You know that thing where a state is worth like 12 electors?
yeah.
Or 38 electors? Those are the actual votes. And my votes determine how many of those votes. In some cases, it's like it's all or nothing. So my vote really doesn't matter. But in other cases, they'll take a
Yeah,
percent.
it sounds kind of weird.
If they would always take a percent for the electors, it would be closer to democracy. But there's fewer states that do that than don't. I think it's like 1 or 2 that do a percent.
So you don't live in a democracy.
We don't. It's a representative democracy or a democratic republic, your choice of terms there.
It's funny because a lot of people, if you ask most Americans, they'll think, yeah, it's democracy. It's like, is it?
No.
So,
and when we say we're spreading democracy, that's not what we're doing. We're spreading
and then you got to
capitalism.
think, it's like, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation, one God.
No, under God.
Under God. I don't know it, sorry, but.
But yeah, it is still just one God. You can't be in a religion that believes in more than one God.
One God.
Or less than one God.
Liberty to the Republic of the. I don't know. I can't say it.
What? Yeah, because you're Canadian.
Yeah,
you don't know it.
We don't have that here, so.
But we don't have to pledge in school anymore. We used to have to pledge in school every day, which is weird to have to like pledge allegiance, like forced nationalism. That's a good thing, right?
Huh? What a long commercial.
That's what that is. National pride is nationalism.
50 cents for a PS5. Bullshit.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
Like, I guess maybe if you somehow get lucky, but again, if you spend and you go in at the end, right? But I don't know if you can snipe it like that. I'm guessing
You can't. They do that adding time thing.
It is now time for the candidates to
because otherwise everyone would do that strat. There is no strat because otherwise everyone would do the strat. So it's a rigged system against everybody.
Go back to the debate.
Plus 3 minutes.
Okay.
Plus 3 minutes. Plus 3 minutes.
We've made
you bid?
significant
Plus 3
progress
minutes.
from the debacle that was left by President Trump in his last term. We find ourselves in a situation where, number one, we have to make sure that we have a fair tax system. I ask anyone out there in the audience or anyone out watching this debate, do you think the tax system is fair?
Nope.
The fact is...
But you haven't covered the real problems with it.
Nobody even making under $400,000 had a single penny increase in their taxes, and will not. And if I'm reelected, that'll be the case again. But this guy has increased your taxes because of the deficit, number one. He's increased inflation because of the debacle he left after the way he handled the pandemic. And he finds himself in a position where he now wants to tax you more by putting a 10% tariff on everything that comes into the United States of America. What I did, when, for example, he wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. Well, guess what? We got it down to $35 for insulin instead of $400. No more than $2,000 for every senior, no matter how much prescription they need. You know what that did? That reduced the federal debt by $160 billion over 10 years because the government doesn't have to pay the exorbitant prices. I'm going to make that available to every senior all along, and it's happening now, and everybody in America. He wants to get rid of that. I'm going to make sure that we have child care. We're going to significantly increase the credits people have for child care. I'm going to make sure we do something about what we're doing on lead pipes and all the things that are causing health problems for people across the country. We're going to continue to fight to bring down inflation and give people a break.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, you now have 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all the stuff, but he didn't do
wait,
it for 3.5
okay, you're
years,
scattershotting me
everything
on that one because he started out with Israel.
The Palestinians,
Never should have happened, and then he ended up with Ukraine. Never should have happened.
You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times.
Oh, also Charlottesville never happened. That's his zinger for the night.
They don't respect you.
He doesn't think Charlottesville happened.
And they don't respect
That's a
you
pretty
throughout
dumb
the
one.
world.
That's easy to fact check.
What
It happened.
we did was incredible. We rebuilt
someone
the
died.
military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs. But he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers, where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves, and they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden. Stay with us because we have full analysis of this debate. Anderson Cooper and Aaron Burnett starts now on CNN.
Is that it? It's over? Okay.
I think that's technically it. They're not even going to show them walking off.
No.
I want to make sure because I have falls or almost falls on the card. So hold on. Hold.
They're going to hug as soon as the cameras go off.
There's also the will they shake hands question, and I didn't see it. They didn't shake before.
No, they didn't shake before.
It usually would be an after. Oh, we've got nothing.
Well, yeah. Cool.
Presumably. Oh, wait. They're still up there stage? Okay.
There's
he's
Jill.
hugging someone.
And Trump
He's
walks
leaving.
off.
That's Jill.
Yeah, there's Jill because Melania didn't.
Trump is
go.
exiting stage. I don't think there was a handshake.
No, there wasn't.
No attempted fall there, but I'm really more looking at this
Why
guy.
isn't Jill walking?
He has Jill, though. He likes to have Jill with him.
Oh,
She actually does help him walk, which is good.
Oh, why is he shaking? Like, what? What's he doing? Why
He's taking his time. There's steps.
Why isn't he going to?
He's been standing for over 90 minutes, and he's over 80 years old.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Good.
So let him take his time. I don't want him to fall.
Why is he talking about?
Because it needs to be a bigger fall than that for what I want. So
Yeah.
I don't want. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Okay, well, that's okay.
He's not gonna.
He's not gonna fall.
He's not gonna leave, is he? Okay, now we're just back on these people.
Alrighty.
So I think we can switch back to the other screen for our outro.
I say we can
Wish
try.
everyone a good night.
Boom.
Um,
Alrighty.
We have our own.
We can't. Because
We can't.
we
don't need to hear what these people have to say. We only care what each other has
so
to
we're
say.
gonna come back to you. It messed up, but whatever. We gotta work
American
on that.
flags out there.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate
Best
it. And
debate
I hope
of
you enjoyed it. I hope
2024.
you had fun and all that. Anything to say before we jet out here, Dustin?
That's the best debate of June 2024.
Yeah.
By far and away, no debate has been better than that one in June of 2024.
No, I guess not.
Sensational. Absolutely. The next one's in September, right?
I think so, yeah. And we'll be back for that.
I can't fucking wait.
Okay.
I just hope Trump doesn't do that same shit where he keeps like going back to the previous question, because that's against the whole spirit of it. Like, you're supposed to move on to the next topic and stay on the topic.
It's hard.
Joe did a better job staying on topic.
But Trump did a lot better
As
than
weird
I
as
thought
that
he
is
was
to
going to do.
say.
But yeah. Okay.
Trump didn't do as many of the
interruptions
he
as I
didn't,
thought he would and all that. So.
Yeah, he didn't get too childish except that one moment where he even said, let's not be childish. But like, dude, you were doing it though.
They both were, but yeah. So yeah, he was right. He's like, let's not. He was like, let's, yeah. Okay. See you soon.
Well, I think it was Joe's time to talk. Yeah. So every time he was talking,
then why didn't the mics
Joe was talking during Joe's
the
time.
mics mute then?
They should have muted. That's why I kept yelling, mute his mic.
You know what I can do? I can do this, and now nobody can hear you. You know, it doesn't matter. Nobody can hear you, and it's like, ha ha ha. There's nothing you can do. But you literally, I got you mute, and they cannot hear you right now. No matter what you say, say something. Yeah. Right? No, but they can't hear you. I can. Yeah, did you? Well, that doesn't mean anything, so. Okay. We'll see you soon, everybody. We'll see you on.
I can't hear you.
We'll see you tomorrow. It's Friday tomorrow.
I can't hear you.
He's, he is. So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Yeah, that was the first debate. I think they both lost. There was no clear winner in my eyes. That was me personally. They both kind of sucked. But yeah, stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Bye.
Where are we going to send everybody?
Oh yeah, Jack Johnson. Go see him. He's going to play some video games.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jack's still on. We can send him over there.
He's playing GTA. Okay.
GTA Cast RP.
Bye-bye.